We need to talk about content. You see, back when Exposure Ninja started, around late 2012, you could get a website performing really nicely by just having a bit of information about what the business sold, a nice call to action, and that would be pretty much it. You could get it ranked on Google, you could start bringing in some traffic. People would be impressed by a website that was well laid out and had a decent call to action, and you didn't really have to do much more. Then around 2014 sort of time, we noticed that loads and loads of businesses were using their blogs more strategically. So rather than posting updates about the business on their blogs, they would instead use their blogs to talk about the questions that people have, and they try and educate their audience. Some businesses also started building content hubs and knowledge bases on their site. What we noticed is that the bar for content on a website was continuing to raise. If you wanted to compete in search results, you had to have informational content which answered your customers' questions. If you wanted to get links, you had to have well-researched and interesting stuff on your site that people would actually want to link to. If you wanted to run social or email, you had to have something useful on your site to send people to. The price of entry for a well-performing website went from just having a bit of information about what you do to essentially building a content website with a business website attached. And in order to show your customers that you knew what you were talking about, you couldn't just have a bit of information, you needed to become a thought leader. And that phrase used to mean that, the top people in the industry would be the thought leaders. Whereas now most businesses in their marketing plan somewhere have the phrase thought leader. Today, the bar is higher than ever. In many competitive industries, you basically need to be a media company, you need to be running a media property with your website attached. You need to be posting resources, articles, interviews, thought leadership pieces, tips, how-to guides, FAQs, just to cut through. Now, for the business owner or marketing manager, this is exhausting. After all, you already have a business or marketing to run. Now you basically have to run a magazine on the side of your website just to produce enough content to be able to compete in your space. Now, I was on a panel discussion at a digital marketing conference a few days ago, and one of the questions was, what are going to be some of the trends that we see with digital marketing going forward? My prediction was that this is only going to get worse. The strains on businesses to produce content in order to compete online are only going to increase. And we're going to move beyond just producing text and images towards more businesses having to produce video in order to cut through the noise. The bar will continue to raise as more and more of your competitors become content factories. And the reality is that the businesses that are going to succeed in this space are the ones that get into the habit of taking the information out of their business and putting it online in a way that is interesting and relevant to their audience. And the businesses that are going to succeed in this new world are the businesses that get into the habit of taking the information out of the business and the people in it and putting it online in a way that is interesting and builds credibility with their audience. And by the way, you might hate this. Lots of people do, and lots of people really resent the amount of information that they have to share with the marketplace in order to get attention. But let me reassure you that this has always actually been the way things are. Let's go back to a bygone era when people actually shopped on their local high street. Remember those days?
No.
Well, think about it. Those shopkeepers would spend their days talking to customers. They would be answering questions about which thing should I buy, or how does this work, or what would be best for someone in my situation. Do you think the local chemist got bored giving people advice about how to cure their headaches? Probably. They might be answering those questions 30 times a day. Now, if you told that local chemist that actually all they needed to do would be to answer those questions one time and one time only, write down those answers in a well-ordered and easy-to-use knowledge base and just stick it up on a website and be done with it, that chemist who would today be running an online pharmacy, this is exactly what they would do. So businesses sharing information in order to build credibility is nothing new. This is how business has been done over the years. The difference is today we do it all online, and the businesses that can provide the most useful and detailed information are the ones that are winning. So if it's a game we all have to play, we may as well get supremely awesome at it, right? Cool. Now, regardless of where you're at with your content or your content marketing today, winning at content requires three things: research, production, and promotion. In this video, I'm going to take you through these 3 steps to beat your competitors with awesome content marketing. Now, throughout, we're going to be using an example of an industry that is ridiculously competitive. And I intentionally chose a ridiculously competitive space so that we could see the extent that you might have to go to if you were going to win in this space. Chances are your business isn't as competitive as the space that we're going to be looking at. So that means if you apply these strategies in your market, swing. Okay, step number 1 is research. So like I said, we're going to be using an example of a fake business, which I'm going to set up called Ninja Car Insurance. And Ninja Car Insurance is a car insurance comparison website. So for those outside the UK, car insurance comparison or motor insurance comparison is a quirky phenomenon that we have where you go to a website and you fill in the details about the insurance that you want to buy. These websites then aggregate all of the different insurance providers and basically give you a ordered list of the best value cover for you. They then take an affiliate commission of any insurance purchases that you make through their links. That's the business model. Now, it's incredibly competitive because actually these businesses are essentially giant super affiliates. They are making their money through affiliate commission and they have very small outgoing costs other than the marketing of these businesses. So they're incredibly competitive. The other reason I chose this space is it's very well funded. A lot of the websites in this space are very, very well funded and have spent a lot of time on digital marketing over the years. In other words, whatever business you're in, chances are it's not going to be as competitive as these. So let's start this research process and I'll take you through some of the things that you can do to start dominating your competitors with content. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start by being the customer. We're going to head straight to Google and search for the broadest phrase in this space, which is car insurance. Now, thinking about car insurance as the phrase that you might want to target, this is the most broad, most competitive search term out there. In other words, the sites that are ranking for this are typically going to be the best performers in the space. When thinking about content topics, you can kind of imagine a tree. So any tree has one trunk and then it has different branches coming off that trunk. And then it has little sub branches which come off these main branches and sometimes even sub branches which come off the sub branches. So the trunk is big, it's solid, it's the thing that all of the water and all of the nutrients for the tree go through. The branches, they're big, they're chunky, but they're not as chunky as the trunk. The sub-branches are smaller than the branches and the sub-branches get smaller and smaller. You get the picture. Now, in this market, car insurance is the trunk. This is the big term that takes loads of budget, takes loads of people's attention. This is a real headline term that people want to rank for and they want to dominate with content. So it's a really good starting place for us to see where we're at in the space and benchmark what else is out there. Now, the first thing that we see when we look at the search results, 4 ads, highly competitive. Let's take a look at the first 3 organic results. Now, this first website, Go Compare. Now, we're not necessarily here to look at the SEO, although I just can't help myself. We've got car insurance used a couple of times there. We've got car insurance here as well. This is a well SEO page, as you would expect. What we're really looking at today is the content on this page. So we've got this header section above the fold, which is decent and has a bit of information about car insurance. Then we've got car insurance quotes. Then we've got a bit about their process. Then we've got the different companies that they work with on car insurance. Then we've got the car insurance guides. Bingo! Our content work has started. So what are these all about? Well, these are individual pages with detailed guides about specific topics within car insurance. So think of car insurance as the trunk of the tree, and then these are some of the branches off that trunk. Electric car insurance, adding named drivers. So some of these are commercial searches, so people searching for electric car insurance may be looking to buy. Adding name drivers, they're probably not looking to buy more insurance now, they're probably figuring out how they can add something to an existing policy. So we've got this combination of separate branches and also separate sub-branches. Some of them are informational, some of them are commercial. Let's keep going though. Then we've got the different types of car insurance: comprehensive, third party, and third party only. Notice that each of them has their own separate page. These are the pages that are targeted for phrases like comprehensive car insurance, which will be one of the branch keywords off the main trunk. Then we've got an offer, a CTA. Good to echo the CTAs down the page to catch any commercial visitors that could be tweaked into making a purchase right now. We've got more information. Do I need car insurance? Car insurance for over 50s, separate page. New driver insurance, separate page. Learner driver insurance, separate page. Then we've got some car insurance tools. These are yet more guides about, is my car insured? Check my insurance group, mileage calculator, fuel price calculator. These are link bait items. These are things that people will link to, these tools and calculators. Then we've got some tips on how to save money on car insurance. Then we've got more guides, more individual pages, multi-car, short-term, classic car, business car, gap insurance. Then we've got even more. We've got the add-ons. Then we've got some info about how much it costs. Then we've got FAQs. Then we've got customer reviews. Then breathe. We're at the end of the page. Look at the size of that page. This is essentially the Wikipedia of car insurance. In fact, I would be surprised if Wikipedia has as much information about car insurance as this page or this site. It is phenomenal. Let's look at the second ranking site and see what they're doing differently and what they're doing the same. So first thing that they're doing the same is that above the fold section, pretty similar. We've got get a car quote. We've got some information here. We've got obviously optimized for car insurance. Then we've got some guides. Now these are more about making a claim, changing and renewing your policy rather than information guides for people that are new or considering making a car insurance purchase. We've got USPs, then we've got some more information about these different topics. Now rather than linking through to separate pages, they're just including the information on the page, so they're not pushing us towards other optimized pages for these phrases, which is interesting. Suboptimal, potentially, but it seems to be working okay because they're position number 2. Although obviously you want to be position number 1, so just copy what number 1's doing, right? Obvious, but no. Anyway, we continue. So then we've got some FAQs. Now these are more about this company, LV, rather than car insurance as a whole. So it means that there's very few FAQs actually here. We then have some separate pages for branch keywords, branch topics. And then we've got the different types of car insurance: third party only, third party fire and theft, comprehensive. Now remember on the first site, these had links through to dedicated pages targeting each of these terms. Not here. Low hanging fruit. We got some information about pricing. And then we've got some related car insurance articles, which is kind of the knowledge base blog type thing on this site. So yes, there's lots of information, but there is nowhere near as much as there was on that first site, which is kind of interesting. Let's look at the third example and then we'll move on. Okay, so the site ranking number 3 is compare the market. Let's have a look and see what they're doing well and what they're not doing so well. So again, we've got similar above the fold section focused on car insurance, but we don't have a sub headline. We've just got a main headline of car insurance. We've then got some information. We've got links to articles. So we've got some stuff here, these branch keyword type focused stuff. We've got some stuff about automation. We've got some stuff about how can I get cheap car insurance, and we've got some links through to sub pages here, things like no claims discount, effects on mileage, and top tips for cheap car insurance. Now, interestingly, those don't look as much like links to me, so that might be something I would look at from a UX perspective. Then we've got the separate pages targeting each of the different types of insurance. We've got information about all their providers as well. Then we've got further detailed guides in the specific cover section, and so on. So we've got a lot of the elements here that we had on the first website. So from this, as I'm looking through these, I'm beginning to build up a picture of what it's going to take me to compete in this space. If I want to start competing for car insurance, I'm going to need to do at least this much. Remember, they're established. I might not be as established in this space. So if I'm going to beat someone who's established, I not only need to beat them a little bit, I need to completely crush them. I need to take this to a whole nother level. Which leads me to my next point. You might decide, having looked at your top ranking competitors, that actually to build out something like this is going to take actual years. And what you might decide to do there is, rather than go after the main tree trunk of car insurance, you might decide to take one of the branches and then go really hard after that. Remember, with digital marketing, it's usually best to win a smaller race than come last in a bigger race. I would much rather rank and get traffic for a niche term with smaller search volume than appear on page 150 for a really popular term. I'm essentially invisible on a page 150, whereas if I can get some traction for a smaller term, that gives me a bit of a baseline, which gives me some revenue that I can then reinvest into being more aggressive for the key terms in the space. By the way, I hope you're enjoying this video so far. If you are, please click like and consider subscribing. If you want some help with your digital marketing, our agency, Exposure Ninja, does exactly this for businesses of all shapes and sizes. Now, we can help you by reviewing your current digital marketing and pointing out some areas that you might be able to pick off some of the low-hanging fruit. This is a really awesome service, and we call it our free website and digital marketing review. It does exactly what it says on the landing page. So go to exposureninja.com and click the big button to request your free review today. Once you do that, we'll ask you for a bit of information about your business, your digital marketing, and your goals. We'll then put together a video plan of action for you that gets you to your goals in the next 6 to 12 months. We'll send this over by email, usually within 2 to 3 working days. And did I mention this service is free? Yeah. So go to exposureninja.com and click the big button to request your free website and digital marketing review today. Now, one of the ways that you can find the related terms, if I'm just searching car insurance and I just type in car insurance for, I can then see some related terms. These are basically the branches coming off this tree trunk of car insurance. Car insurance for a day, car insurance for learner drivers, young drivers, new drivers, a week, month, 17-year-old women, over 80s, first-time drivers, and so on. So I might look for some of the less competitive terms that I can get some traction with, build some momentum, and then I can use that to start then attacking the main core terms. So let's say that I go for car insurance for 17-year-olds. I might even be able to niche this further by going car insurance for 17-year-old females, for example. Now, whether there's some regulations in the space about being able to give different prices for male and female, I don't know. But if I'm targeting a phrase like car insurance for 17-year-old females, and I look at this and see that actually, do you know what? This page here isn't optimized for 17-year-old females. This isn't content about 17-year-old female car insurance. This is just 17-year-old car insurance. What you're really looking for is you're looking for that weaker gazelle at the back of the pack. The one that's limping a little bit. You've got your eye on it, you see it, stalking it as soon as it slips. That's content marketing. And really what I see from this is that none of this is optimized for 17-year-old females car insurance. That tells me that if I wanted to do this, I could get way more traction with this than targeting a main head term. Yes, it's going to be less competitive. Yes, I'm going to have less visitors coming onto my site. Yes, I'm going to make less money than if I was ranking for car insurance and if I focused all my content on that. But I would much rather win a game like this than massively lose the most competitive game. So that's the first step in your research process, is to start seeing what else is out there. Now, what's going to happen is over time, you're going to build up a bit of an understanding about the sort of sites that are continually doing well in the space that you're in. You're going to see the sites that are producing the most information. You're going to get a feel for how much detail is required and some of the strategies that they're using. Now it's time to put a bit of data behind this and get a bit more insight than what we can get from just looking at Google. So in our example, we're going to take the top ranking page for car insurance, this one on gocompare.com. And I'm going to put GoCompare into SE ranking, which is a competitor analysis tool that we use. By the way, you can get a free trial at bestninjatool.com. It's awesome. So we've put GoCompare into SE ranking, and what can we see? Well, we can see all of the URLs that are ranking. We can have a look at all of the different pages that are ranking on Google. Now, I just want to filter this a little bit because I only want to look at the pages within cars and insurance. So I'm just going to search for car. Now, I want to filter this and only look at the pages that are about cars and car insurance. So I'm just going to add in car into the filter. So the first thing that I notice here is that this car insurance page is bringing in around about 50% of GoCompare's traffic. That is freaking phenomenal. Around 4.24 million visits per month in the UK. If they were paying to advertise for these keywords, they'd be spending around £14 million a month. So that page is fantastically valuable for them. The other thing that I can get from all of this is I can understand their strategy. So I can see a few things going on here just by looking at the URLs. Firstly, I can see the structure of the content on their website. For example, here we've got gocompare.com/car insurance short term. So what we've got is we've got the car insurance parent page, and then we've got short term car insurance child page underneath it. I can see we've got variations of this. We've got cheapest cars to insure as another version of that. We've got multi-car policies as well. So we've got all these child pages of the car insurance page. There's something else really interesting going on, which is that they've got provider pages as well. So in order to target people who are searching for some of the car insurance companies they work with, like Admiral, for example, they've got an Admiral page on their website. A little bit sneaky because they're actually trying to steal traffic searching for Admiral car insurance and get them to come through the Go Compare website so they can then sell those visitors back to Admiral or sell them to a competitor if the competitor will pay more. So a little bit sneaky. I'm not sure how I'd feel about that if I were Admiral, but I know that for my Ninja insurance business, this is a strategy that I might want to use because it'll then allow me to start taking some traffic from the insurance companies themselves. Now from here, what I can start doing is drilling down into some of these pages to analyze how they're performing and what they've been optimized for. So let's just take this page here, cheapest cars to insure for young drivers in 2019. Now I'm going to be able to see the keywords that this page is ranking for, and obviously by visiting the page, I'm going to be able to see how it's been optimized to rank for those keywords. Now, cheapest cars to insure is actually quite an interesting piece of content to have on their site because this is someone who's very early stage. They are going to buy a car at some point and then they're going to need to insure that car at some point as well. So this might be a great page to have on my site if I want to retarget visitors or if I want to build an email list of people that are considering making a purchase. So this could be a very top of funnel search term that I might want to target with some great content. So let's have a look and see what it's ranking for. I can see all the different keywords it's ranking for, pretty much the stuff that I would have expected. So cheap cars to insure, cheapest cars to insure, cheapest cars for insurance, cheap first cars to insure. This is basically it, right? That is essentially what we've got. Now this is great. It shows me that this strategy is working and that 165,000 searches per month tells me that this is something viable that we could test. Let's have a look at the page itself and see how we might be able to beat this. So as soon as I land on the page, I see this headline, 10 cheapest cars to insure for young driver. That doesn't even make sense. It's not grammatically correct. So I know immediately if they're making a mistake in the headline, there's probably going to be some other opportunities here. The next thing, the subheadline. We've run the data to find the cheapest cars to insure in 2019. 2019? Well, I'm recording this in mid to late 2021, so this piece is already 2 years old. I don't care when it says it was updated. They haven't updated this subheadline. Now that makes me think that somebody isn't putting the time and energy in here. This might be a little weak gazelle at the back of the pack, you know? So I'm already thinking, all right, this looks pretty tasty. I think I might be able to knock this off and do a bit of a better job. As I scroll down, I'm seeing that the page is reasonably well formatted. We've got all these different car pictures. Yeah, they're not original. Yeah, they could be better, but you know, it works. We've got these little tables with the comparisons of different features. Maybe something that might be nice is a big table at the top which groups all of this information in one place and allows me to find the right car for me based on the criteria in the table. That could be good. Not here, but it could be good. Elsewhere, as I'm scrolling down, I'm seeing there are no calls to action. There's no attempt to generate me as an email sign up. The only call to action on this page is in the top left and it says get a car quote. Get a car quote. I'm not here for a car quote. I'm here for car insurance. That's what this business sells. So that's really confusing. Now, obviously, we've just picked one random page and had a look at it, and we've thought, actually, do you know what? This does look a little bit weak. We might be able to take this on. We might be able to do a little bit of a better job of that content than they have. And remember, this is the top ranking site for car insurance. This is a site with one of the best pages I've ever seen. And yet, we only have to go one layer deeper to find that actually, not all of their stuff is in order. Now, the next piece of your research that you might want to do is use a service like BuzzSumo to see what sort of content gets shared on social. If social is really strategically important for you, then usually you'll have to take a slightly different approach to content than you will if purely just getting it ranked is the thing that you're going after. For example, cheapest cars to insure for young drivers isn't necessarily the sort of thing that's going to get people ridiculously excited about sharing on Facebook, whereas the world's most expensive cars to insure, or you wouldn't believe how much it would cost to insure a 17-year-old on this £250,000 Lamborghini, that's the sort of thing that might be of interest to people. So if we search car insurance on BuzzSumo, we see the articles that have been shared and engaged with the most on social. And by the way, if all of this sounds a little bit weird to our American friends, motor insurance. Just substitute car with motor insurance. Okay. We can see that the articles being shared most in the UK are all about lockdown, face masks and things like that. It's very, very topically relevant. It's jumping on trending topics as we would expect. So if social is really important for you, this shows you some of the sorts of topics which are getting the most engagement. By the way, I hope you're enjoying this video so far. If you are, please click like and consider subscribing. If you want some help with your digital marketing, our agency, Exposure Ninja, does exactly this for businesses of all shapes and sizes. Now, we can help you by reviewing your current digital marketing and pointing out some areas that you might be able to pick off some of the low-hanging fruit. This is a really awesome service and we call it our free website and digital marketing review. It does exactly what it says on the landing page. So go to exposureninja.com and click the big button to request your free review today. Once you do that, we'll ask you for a bit of information about your business, your digital marketing, and your goals. We'll then put together a video plan of action for you that gets you to your goals in the next 6 to 12 months. We'll send this over by email, usually within 2 to 3 working days. And did I mention this service is free? Yeah. So go to exposureninja.com and click the big button to request your free website and digital marketing review today. Okay, step number next is to produce your article or your video or whatever it is that you're producing. As you will have been doing your research, you will have noticed the sort of stuff that's working well. For example, if you're producing an article for a page on your website, you'll have noticed, is the stuff that's working really well? Is it really long? Is it detailed? Is it linking through to guides? Does it have loads of testimonials? Does it have links to case studies? Does it have examples and subtopics linked on separate pages? If it does, then usually you're going to have to do at least that in order to compete. It's no good trying to beat someone who's doing a really good job if you're doing a really rubbish job. So you need to be at least as good as them. Now, the good news is they've shown you what works. That's great. So you can stand on their shoulders and take it to the next level. But you do need to do that. You can't just put something out half-heartedly and expect to beat an established competitor. So write it, proof it, if possible, have somebody else proof it. We have an entire editorial team here at Exposure Ninja that spend their time just proofing and reading through stuff to check that it is correct. This is really important. Usually you won't get stuff with mistakes performing well. Now, one tip as you're producing this is to think about the sort of page that your content is going to be on. So for example, if you're writing a core page on your website, a product or service page, the writing is going to be quite commercial intent. It's going to be designed for people that are looking to buy or considering making a purchase. If you're answering a question or a problem that somebody's having, then the writing is going to be much more around helping them and giving them advice. It's going to be much more informational. So it's not going to be as pitchy. It's not going to be talking about why you're the best option for them. It's going to be helping them to make a decision. You might be writing an article that's for a content hub or a knowledge base, in which case most of the articles are going to be matching each other in length and the sort of style that they're written in. And by the way, if you don't know what a content hub or knowledge base is, here's a great example again in the car insurance space from Money Supermarket, where they've got a whole bunch of different guides about car insurance. This is a content hub knowledge base, just basically a way for people to find information that's useful to them. Now, by the way, why are they doing this? Are they doing this because loads of people want to find out about car insurance and parking? Not really. They're doing this to rank for car insurance and parking search terms. That is basically it. This is just a traffic play. And they say that I'm cynical. Once you've done all that, it's time for step 3, promotion. This is all about how you get eyeballs on the stuff that you've just written. Now, if you've got lots of traffic on your site, if your site is performing well, then sometimes all it takes to get this new content ranking is some internal links. Let's say that we've got our Ninja Insurance website and we've got lots of content already. We've got lots of pages about different topics, but we really want to boost this car insurance for 17-year-olds page. Well, what we might do is just look around on the website to see anywhere where it talks about car insurance for young people. And then we might add an internal link from there to the car insurance for 17-year-olds page, just to show visitors that, hey, here's the information that's dedicated and optimized for you. Sometimes this is all it takes to get a page ranking and to get a page performing. Now, of course, if you're in a competitive space, you might also want to get some links from other websites as well. Here's an example page from Money Supermarket for their premium calculator. So this is a calculator for car insurance premiums. And of course, they've got links from other websites. But when we have a look at the quality of links, we see that, websiteperu.com, linkddl.com, couponsale.in, link-d.com, linkmeo.com, anonymoussite.com, adbloglink.com, urlbacklinks.com, urlbacklinks.com. Lo and behold, all of the links to this page are trash. So what we can safely say is that whilst links are important to your website, you don't always need loads of really good quality links to an underlying page in order for that page to perform well and be useful. So if I'm competing against this, I'm thinking, yeah, cool, right, I can get some good quality links to my page and hey, let's see what happens. And by the way, we ran a recent YouTube live where Ninja Dale broke down 50 ways to get links. So I'm not going to go into all the different ways you can get links. Go and watch that. But there are loads of different ways to get links which don't involve these sort of websites. Of course, there are other ways to promote your page as well. If it's good enough, if it's relevant, send it out to your email list. If it's good, if it's relevant enough, send it to your social media channels. But be careful, don't just post car insurance page. Hey, there needs to be something that's worthy of social interest and engagement there. Don't just broadcast it out because you probably shouldn't. Another thing that you can do, which is something we do here at Exposure Ninja, is if you've got a really important page, you can record a video version of that page. Then when you put the video on YouTube, you can include a link to the article underneath the video. With 55% of Google searches including video snippets, this means that you can start getting some traffic and getting some ranking for phrases that are much more difficult to compete with just in text search through video. Obviously, the barrier to entry is much higher with video. It takes all this stuff and all this time to do. But the good news is that if you're willing to put that effort in, much fewer of your competitors will be. So that can be really good and that can help you get some traction if you're struggling to get through with just text search alone. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope that it's helped give you some ideas for how to crush your competitors with content. Be merciless, always be merciless. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. We post a new video every single week. And if you're more of a podcast person, then don't forget to check out the Exposure Ninja podcast. Again, new episodes every single week. Just search Exposure Ninja on whatever podcast platform that you use. And don't forget to request your free website and marketing review if you haven't already. Other than that, see you next time.